Hello. As Will said, thank you for the opportunity to be part of the inaugural edition of the HETS Online Journal, and we're happy to be here this morning. I guess I first wanted to start out by talking about how Will and I came to collaborate with each other. Will is responsible for training the faculty in technology here at Kurztown, and he actually helped me and our fellow faculty in the Advising Center for undeclared students to use Blackboard originally as part of our first-year seminar, specifically for students who do not yet declare a major. And that evolved into a hybrid course, which we had a large classroom setting. We had over 150 students in each of our classes. We had part of our course through Blackboard, but we also met with them during the week for a large class, not really a lecture. We wanted to make it more interactive, and that's actually why we started to include the clickers as a way to reach these first-year students in such a large classroom environment, and these students are unsure of what they want to major in. Some of them were reluctant to talk. Some of them were using their own technology, unfortunately, in the classroom. We wanted to get them involved and be a part of what we were doing. And so, as Will said, because the clickers are such an integral part of PowerPoint, which everybody felt comfortable already using, we were able to really get up and running with the clickers very quickly. But then really what happened, and this is what we wanted to share with the readers, is how we included other technology with the clickers, and that was specifically videos. And Will also helped me learn how to produce and edit my own videos. And this really proved very exciting for us, but also the students really did enjoy this. And the students became a part of the videos because we filmed them as well. And just to give you an idea, we use clickers for things like icebreakers in the beginning to kind of make the students aware that they were in the class and we wanted them to participate, and ask them a question and they would all have to answer. But the first video that we showed them that we used with the clickers was actually video of students that we filmed talking about the kind of music that they like. And the reason why I picked music as kind of a portal into this and getting the students involved is because students are so passionate about music. And I really don't know any student who wouldn't engage in a conversation about the kind of music that they like. They're always listening to music. And they have very, very strong opinions about the kind of music that they like. But what I found interesting was that students also kind of knew about and also maybe held their own stereotypes about different kinds of music and the kind of people who might listen to that music. And I thought this was a good way to transition into talking about other stereotypes, just because that's part of what we do in a first-year seminar. How do we get along at the university? How do you get involved? How do you meet people outside of your normal, the normal group of people? And this is your opportunity to get involved with other cultures, to learn about new religions and so on. So what I did was I filmed some students talking about the kind of music that they like, and the music was in the background, and talking about whether or not they thought that there was any stereotypes attached to it. And of course they said that there were, but the students saw this, and they were able to hear other students, so these were freshmen too, being able to share their ideas, and then we were able to talk more about their own opinions about music. We also had a listening activity involved in this, and the clickers came in very handy with this. So we had students listen to various songs and ask them to guess the artist and the name of the song, and then to group it into some sort of category of music. And that went along nicely with this music stereotype presentation. And they were able to play this kind of guessing game and, like a game show on television. And they actually really enjoyed that. But I do think that this was a good way in because they felt comfortable talking about music into other discussions about overcoming stereotypes, racial stereotypes, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, all the things that sometimes are very difficult for students to begin talking about. But the other, I think, unique piece to this was that I was able to also film professionals out in their field talking about what they do in their careers, what their career was and what they do, and then to ask them what they majored in college. Being a class of students who do not know what they want to major in, a lot of times they're afraid to declare because they think that a certain major will kind of lock them into a life path, and they're afraid about that, and they don't necessarily know how majors can lead into many different directions. So there's really also a stereotype about majors. And so this was very, very helpful because what we did was we showed the first part of the video where these professionals were talking. And then the second, then we put up the PowerPoint slide and the students had to guess from a choice, multiple choice, what the person majored in college, and it was really enlightening for them because most of them they got wrong because they came to see that typically what they would think would lead to a particular career, this person was able to get into a different major. So that was really fun for the students, and they became very, very involved in this. And the reason why I wanted to, I think, share this piece is because when you have successful activities, it really helps for other people to learn and see that they're really not that difficult to put together. And we did do a short survey. We will do a longer one to ask the students how they felt about these activities in terms of the other things that we did in class. But I think our biggest piece of data is that the participation in the class went up. When we don't have that, the participation is not as high. So it's been a very enjoyable type of activity, and I think it was very helpful for all of our students to become involved early on.
So, folks, thanks again.
Thank you
for the opportunity to present.
No, I think we want to thank you for sharing your expertise, and I think that the fact that we have the opportunity of listening to you on how you implemented this initiative, I think makes it more interesting and more closer to us and give us a better perspective. So with this in mind, I would like to open the forum for any questions that our audience has for our authors.
He's got a question down there in the text window. Are there campus climate issues in your institution? So, Will and Kathy?
Yes, hi, Carlos. Thank you for the question. No, there aren't. This was mostly a reaction of how, from the faculty, how are we going to move from a smaller, your typical 25 or 30 seat classroom into the 150 seat classroom. And Dr. Hartman's experience using this in a large classroom actually led us to discover just the usefulness in this tool in drawing out students and engaging everyone in such a large class.
Well, we're ready for the next question. I do have a question. This is eventually. I know that a lot of people have different understanding of what Clicker is. So if you don't mind giving us a quick explanation of what Clicker is about.
Yes, hi. And it's funny too. This is that's me making the mistake of just using jargon from my discipline. So a clicker is a handheld device. It's somewhat similar to the remote control for a television. So the clicker allows students to respond in class, but they can do so without raising their hand and without necessarily speaking out. So it's just a wonderful way to get a large group of students engaged in a class in a manner that would be otherwise impossible if we had to call on the students. So just a nice, simple tool for managing a large class.
I have a question for Dr. Dupre and Dr. Cuomo. How did you measure success with the virtual learning community? I think you talked about retention. Were there any other measures?
Hi. I have data available on retention. We were looking at other things like GPA, but I don't have anything yet to report. I think there was some positive indication that it did a little better in GPA as well, but I don't have anything specific. We also have we have started a reflection survey that we administer now in the Student Wiki Interdisciplinary Group, which is really measuring students' understanding of reflection, observation of reflection, observation of their own learning, I would say. Maybe, would you like to add anything about the reflection survey we're administering?
Well, when students respond to the surveys, we get some sense of their experience in the class and working on the wiki. But we also get what our favorite thing is, that is qualitative responses rather than just a quantitative. We do have graphs and we are working on assessment. We're working on improving our assessment. But I think our favorite part of this is the students' responses to the experience, which are so positive.
Definitely, thank you. So while we're waiting for that, I do have a question for Carlos Cuesto, if you don't mind. How do you implement students when they have requests after hours?
Okay, right now on current, the different universities are working on projects that are online reference, So the after hours, most of it is worked through currently right now in asynchronous way. It's not synchronous. So it's by email and answering the emails and with the question that the user has.